Washington just changed the entire crypto industry. In what was dubbed Crypto Week on Capitol Hill, lawmakers passed not one, not two, but three major bills that could reshape how the United States handles digital currencies. Several days ago, I uploaded a video on the Genius Act specifically, and the video did really well. It received over 140,000 views in just 2 days, so really great feedback. But judging by your comments, I can tell that many of us are concerned about the White House support for the stablecoin, which is effectively the digital dollar, and many of you feel as though it might be a step toward going fully digital, and it might not be called a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, just yet, but the digital dollar, whether it is issued by a central bank or a group of privately controlled banks or institutions, is just that. It's still the digital dollar, and it comes with a certain loss of your privacy. In this video, we're talking about the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, the three crypto bills passed the House during the Crypto Week. First up, the Clarity Act. This bill is being hailed as the Crypto Market Structure Bill. It's Congress's latest attempt to bring digital assets out of the shadows and into a clear legal framework. The Clarity Act establishes a regulatory framework for digital commodities, defined by the bill as digital assets that rely upon a blockchain for the value. The new legislation aims to define the rules for the entire crypto ecosystem, from how digital assets are classified to how exchanges and DeFi protocols are regulated. The Clarity Act divides the regulatory responsibilities between two powerful federal agencies, the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Under this new structure, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission would oversee the majority of digital assets, specifically what the bill calls digital commodities. Think of these as cryptocurrencies that are tied to decentralized blockchain systems. But the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, isn't left out entirely. They will still have jurisdiction over any digital asset that functions like an investment contract, like when a company offers crypto tokens in exchange for early investment, expecting profits. Here's where it gets really interesting. If a blockchain system becomes mature, meaning it's decentralized and it's not controlled by any one person or a company or an entity, it could shift out of the SEC's oversight and into the Commodities Futures Trading Commission hands. And this is not an automatic process. Issuers have to file a notice with the SEC, and yes, the SEC can object or they may approve. So while it appears to hand more power to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the SEC still acts as the gatekeeper, as it does with all publicly traded companies here in the United States. Next, let's discuss the Genius Act. This one tackles stablecoins, the digital dollars that are supposed to always equal $1. The Genius Act creates a regulatory framework for stablecoins, those dollar-pegged digital tokens that move across platforms 24/7. And with that, a $265 billion market of crypto is suddenly primed for a massive expansion, with projections pointing to a $3.7 trillion market valuation by the end of this decade, so in just several years. The Genius Act sets clear federal and state level oversight for issuers of stablecoins, and this may be anybody. It requires these issuers to hold dollar-for-dollar reserves in short-term government bonds or other approved instruments. In simple terms, if you want to issue a stablecoin that is pegged to the United States dollar, you must prove that for every single digital dollar that you create, there is a real one backing it somewhere. However, backing it with fiat currency makes very little sense. You would agree. Supporters say that this adds legitimacy to the sector, which is a substantial boost to anyone who is investing in crypto assets right now. Stablecoins have been around for a while, but they've existed in this sort of legal gray zone. The Genius Act changes that. It sets ground rules for private companies and issuers to issue their own digital money and do so legally. But there is a catch. Critics say that the law doesn't actually go far enough to protect consumers. And yet, interest is growing really, really fast. Zelle and major US banks are reportedly exploring launching their own stablecoins. Why would they do that? Well, because stablecoins can slash back-end fees, as banks say, and it may make cross-border payments smoother and even offer discounts if you buy in-store using a company's own token. But there are major concerns here. What happens if every store starts issuing its own currency? And then there is the Trump angle. One of the most controversial stablecoins, World Liberty, is directly tied to a firm majority owned by the Trump organization. While the US president claims no involvement in daily operations of this company, his family has reportedly made around $500 million just from the coin's launch. So Trump may not be involved in running the World Liberty daily, but he's clearly benefiting financially from the company. This raised serious conflict of interest alarms, especially after Abu Dhabi committed $2 billion in crypto investments backed by the World Liberty token. Finally, we come to the third bill that the House passed during the crypto week, the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act. The bill passed by a narrow vote of 219 votes to 217 votes, which I would argue is quite concerning because I would expect all policymakers to protect our privacy and do so on a bipartisan level. But this bill would ban the Federal Reserve from launching a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, without Congress's explicit approval. So the bill doesn't say that a CBDC will never be issued. It just says that there has to be a legal process for it. Because as we know, a CBDC could become a tool for mass surveillance. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, CBDCs would be government-issued, centralized, and programmable. That means, in theory, the Fed could track every single transaction that you make or even control how you spend your cash. Supporters argue that CBDCs could streamline welfare payments, could reduce fraud, and keep the United States dollar competitive globally. But for now, those plans are on ice. And even to those who are not familiar with blockchains, it is clear that there are other, easier, and more transparent ways to streamline welfare payments without any central bank digital currencies involved. So, 3 bills in one wild week, with the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, and the Anti-CBDC Act all making waves. One thing is quite clear now. The United States is finally getting serious about crypto, with Donald Trump allegedly getting close to $1 billion from his crypto investments. Such a wild push to legalize crypto should not be a surprise to anyone. Still, critics warn that this rapid embrace of crypto, particularly by a president with such deep financial ties to the sector, could invite risk. It just doesn't sit right with many people. Market volatility, regulatory capture, even national security concerns are being questioned and discussed, but one thing is certain at this point: now is the time to make money, and a very small group of people fully embraces it. So what are your thoughts on these bills? I would love to hear from you. As always, let me know in the comment section below. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and make sure that you are a subscriber on Substack and Patreon. I would love to see you there as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care.